8:37 here on the Big 550 KTRS. Yesterday, news came down that Judge David Lee Vincent reinstates the Ellisville mayor, Adam Paul. The person who led the charge to impeach Adam Paul is Matt Pirrello, and he joins us here in studio. Matt Pirrello, thanks for joining us. What are your thoughts as you first heard this news?
Well, good morning, McGraw. First of all, we got to clarify something. I did not lead any charge. The actions of Adam Paul are solely his own. So, this is a matter of 6 members sitting in judgment of him, 5 of which found him guilty of these issues, and that's really what it's all about. But back to the issue of the judge's decision. While I'm very disappointed in the decision, I do believe the council actually did their due diligence in applying the city charter and the law, and by upholding the oath to apply those laws to the charter, I think we actually did the right thing.
The judge says that his due process was infringed upon. Do you agree with that?
I remember the situation coming up. The due process which he's referring to was the point in time in which Adam Paul actually denied his own identity in front of a process server and did not show up for a subpoena for a deposition. So I don't know how much deliberation would have to happen between that actual action. At the time, I remember Chet raising that question and saying, hey, what about another 15 days? The decision was made. There was some practical application and some case law that supported our decision to add that in the resolution. So at this point, I really feel it's more of a technicality.
You really don't think you were the leading person in the opposition or the leading to impeach him?
Well, I mean, I have to step up and take some responsibility. Obviously, I was already in a leading role being the former mayor. There were obviously some folks that were looking towards me for some level of leadership. However, his actions have to stand on his own merit. I mean, that's something I can't make up. It's yet to be refuted. As a matter of fact, he's even shown up on council chambers and during public comments. He's made a comment that he did in fact do what we accused him of doing, and that he said he'd do it again.
Let's go back to we're going to. I'll get that in a second. Let's first start with he's now back as mayor. You're on the city council. How are these meetings going to be? How have you had a chance to talk with him since this has happened?
No, I was going to put a call into him this morning and discuss the reason we called this meeting, which incidentally, I know there was an accusation flying around out there that this meeting was called after the judgment came down, but I have an email that I sent to the city manager book out in which I asked to have this meeting scheduled last Friday. And I believe they acted on it on Monday. I don't know if he had an opportunity to work on it last Friday. But the purpose for this meeting was to discuss personnel matters. We have a city clerk that resigned. We need to appoint a new city clerk. Adam Paul himself actually asked for one of the action items that we'll be working on tonight, which was to have a review of 3 attorneys and select an attorney to review our TIF notes. So I fully expect Adam to attend tonight's meeting and run the city meeting. I have no issues with that. I welcome him back behind the dais, and I hope that what we get is the end result is a quality meeting and get back to getting city business done.
I have to imagine, though, it's going to be a little awkward, don't you think, between you and him?
Oh, there's never been any awkward moments between he and I. I was listening to some of the interviews, and I apologize, McGraw.
That's okay.
Forgive me for not having your interview down this morning.
You can go back on our DVR and watch it at your leisure.
Try to pull it up on the iPhone before I got in. But, hey, the fact of the matter is he made a statement last night, I think, that was a little bit disturbing in that he feels that it's going to be complicated for him to step into this role on a temporary basis and have to effectively cope with the folks that he accused of railroading him. I don't understand how we railroaded somebody who is now self-admitted to the actions that he's taken. But, I have no animosity towards the man. He's obviously bright and articulate. I just don't understand why we can't get back to doing the city's business.
One of the main questions I get from listeners, tweets, texts, Facebook, everything else, is what was Adam Paul impeached for? I'll ask you, what was Adam Paul impeached for?
Well, the last time you and I sat down together, we covered the issues. There were 8 issues that, to the best of my knowledge, were they were significant issues in that they were charter violations. So in the city, we have a charter, and everybody, all the council members and the mayor, have to have to conduct themselves within the confines of that charter. So the issues, the biggies, the express prohibitions. One is he conducted a meeting outside of a public forum. In other words, he had a conversation, again, self-admitted, with an agent for Walmart, and the charter specifically prohibits that activity. It goes as far, when the charter was created, the framers of the charter went so far as to make that an actual crime. They demand a forfeiture of office, and they made it a misdemeanor with a $1,000 fine and up to 90 days imprisonment. So that's item one.
Is that the most egregious
crime?
There
are three issues.
Okay,
all three issues carry the misdemeanor charge.
Okay, was that
and
the
all
one,
three issues also require forfeiture.
Was that the one where he talked to the relocation specialist?
That is correct.
Okay, what's number two?
Number two is interference with administration. We had, prior to 93, we had a very heavy-handed operation and unilateral operation, and the public no longer want that. So they said, okay, we don't want our public officials interfering with administration, so they made a weak form of mayor government by instituting this charter. By doing so, they've expressly prohibited folks, myself, mayors, council members, from interfering with administration. And there were actually several instances in which he did, in fact, interfere with administration. One of the express prohibitions is that he is not allowed to direct any employee outside of the city manager, the city attorney, or the city clerk to do any particular action.
Where should this person have gone who wanted to know the question of if they get relocation expenses for being relocated out of this area? Where should that have person gone to get that information if you can't go to the mayor?
Well, no, I think that the individual that went to the mayor did, in fact, do the right thing. I believe that the mayor did not do the right thing.
Right, but
the action of the mayor at that point was to schedule a meeting with the relocation specialist, open it up so that the public could engage in this conversation, and maybe even that resident stand up and make a comment to that individual instead of some sort of a backroom, offline, on the phone, private conversation, which we don't know all the specifics of.
That's what's so confusing to me. Why is that illegal? What is so awful for a constituent to come and ask the mayor, what about X, Y, and Z, and the mayor going to find the answer and then giving that to the constituent?
There's absolutely nothing wrong with it, providing that the mayor did that within the structure of the charter. And the charter clearly states that if that's something he chooses to do, he should have contacted the city manager, asked to have a meeting posted, schedule a special meeting, or at least add that person to an upcoming meeting, and then ask that person to be present so that conversation can be had in public.
You have is that a impeachable offense?
Absolutely.
All right. The city council spent $100,000 trying to impeach him and the lawyers and all that. Is it worth it?
Well, he hasn't. We haven't tried to impeach him. He has, in fact, and you know, and I will, and I think the word impeachment has been misplaced because he has not been impeached. He has forfeited his office and has been removed from office, and that is a function of the charter. He is still forfeited that office and now has this temporary stay to be reinstated, and will be sitting back as mayor tonight, running the meeting. The fact of the matter is that temporary stay order clearly states that this is temporary up until the point to where they finish the final review.
Okay, so still worth the $100,000?
Well, I don't think it's ever worth it to spend taxpayers' money to have to go down this road, but I can assure you that we wouldn't have had to spend one dime had he not conducted himself the way he did.
A lot of people say it stems over this Walmart TIF issue. Where is that in danger of happening, and where does that whole Sansone TIF Walmart situation stand now?
Well, right now it's the process is approved, and we have an administrative function in which we have to approve the TIF notes, which are coming up, and that will be done, I'm hoping, on the 19th. And again, that's an administrative function in that we already have a contract with them that says we're going to do certain administrative steps. So it's not a legislative issue. It's not a legal issue. It's a matter of just doing the administrative function. With regard to what's going to happen next is all going to depend on what Adam Paul does when he gets in office, and whether or not his direction is to derail or undo everything that has been done up to this point.
Are you worried that it will be undone?
Well, you know what? I have to believe the best in people, McGraw, and I sure hope that he's bringing his A game and nothing else. I have no idea which Adam Paul is going to show up at a meeting, and I hope and pray that it is one that of the utmost professionalism, which I know he's capable of doing, and bringing his best game forward, moving the city forward.
You were quoted as saying, Matt Pirrello, that if he was back as mayor, you would resign.
Let's get that quote right, McGraw.
Please, that's why
you're here.
Let's
get that quote right. I did, in fact, say that I would resign, but I did not say if he was temporarily reinstated. The comment that I made was if a judge overrules the city's petition to have him removed from office, overrules that, and reseats him permanently, that I would, in fact, resign.
So you're still sticking by that comment?
Well, for now, sure, but don't forget. I mean, come on, I'm a politician, for crying out loud.
So you reserve the right to change your mind.
Well, doesn't everybody?
Well, yes. I just want to make sure this is where we are.
Clear.
On this.
No, I made that comment, and I think that if a judge overturns our decision, it's. Well, I just don't know exactly how a judge could overturn the decision, but, I have to respect the, with regard to this judge's order, the temporary order, I have to respect that. I will respect that, and I'm not going to run any interference with regard to that.
So you will be able to work with Mayor Paul going forward?
Absolutely. I've been at this over 11 years, and I consider myself a professional. I consider myself very dedicated to the city. I believe that I am doing the people's business, and I know Adam feels the same way, and I think we're very like-minded in having a common ground in caring for the city for which we live in.
Last question for you, Matt Pirrello. It came out somewhere along the line that KC Communications is the PR firm for doing some work for Ellisville, and one of their requirements is to listen to this show. Can we continue to pay them to listen to this show? Because I need every listener I can get.
No, I'll put in a plug for you, but I'm sure they're listening to everybody's show, but yours is probably the top one.
They get paid to listen to this one, though. That's on the record, though. All right. Matt Pirrello, tonight is that meeting, right? The first meeting where he's back as mayor.
Yes, it is. It's a special meeting, and again, it's not going to be a regular scheduled meeting. We will have our regularly scheduled meeting on the 19th, which is Wednesday. So, and he will be seated for that as well, unless the judge makes some other determination.
Matt Pirrello, I'm sure we'll be talking to you in the future. Thanks for coming in.
McGraw, thank you for having me.
You got it. It's 8:50 here on the Big 550 KTRS. That's Matt Pirrello, who is a city council member for Ellisville. If you missed any and all of this, you can go to stltoday.com/McGraw, and it's DVR'd, so you can rewind the DVR. Last hour, we had Mayor Adam Paul and Chet Pleban on. That's also DVR'd as well, and we will edit that and put it up and tweet it out here. Give us about an hour. 8:51 on the Big 550 KTRS.